Hello, I wanted to give you some tips on how to answer the questions in the week 4 assignment, An Unusual Incident. There are a lot of directions and there are a lot of numbers, so I wanted to help you to not be overwhelmed by what you need to do. It's really not a very hard assignment once you understand what it is you're being asked to do. So here is the assignment, and what it says to do is to download the file. So I'm going to do that, and here's what you get. So below is a summary of data collected about a particular incident involving a large number of people. Your task is to look for patterns in the data and hence determine what the incident might have been. For example, one unusual pattern in the data is the difference in the overall female death rate, 27%, and the overall male death rate, 80%. There are many intriguing differences between the categories, and that's what I'm going to help walk you through. So if you scroll down on this, what you get is a very overwhelming pile of information. And what we've been seeing so far in statistics is that if we take all of this information and just look at it, it can be very overwhelming. But if we try to break it into parts and we try to graph it, we can see a lot of patterns. So that's what I would like to do today. So what we have is we have data that has been broken down by gender and by economic status. So there were people that were exposed to this incident, there were people that died in this incident, and here are the percent of people that died, broken down by males and females. And everything is broken down by economic class. 1 is the highest economic class, 2 is middle, and 3 is lower. And I'm not going to really worry about this other or total. I'm not even going to look at those numbers. So what I would like to suggest that you do, and what I have done, is that you take some of this data and you break it down so that it doesn't look so overwhelming. Once we finish working on economic status and gender, then we're going to move down to economic status and age, because there were some children and some adults that were also involved in this incident. So we're going to break it down into graphs, and then we're going to see if we see any patterns. So here is what I have done. Here are my graphs. So this is the number of males exposed and the number of females exposed to this incident, and you can see that it is broken down by economic status, 1, 2, and 3, again, where 1 is high. So once I take these numbers, and I had Excel do a graph for me, I used this column feature at the top to create a graph. What you can see is that for the males, most of the people who were exposed to this incident were in the lower economic status. Female was a little more evenly spread out, but again, many more females than others, but not as different as there was for males. So once I've taken this data and done a graph of it, I can see that there are some differences, and what this assignment asks you to do is to talk about the differences that you see once you have graphed it. So I'm going to go back to the assignment here. Not this page, but I'm going to go back to the assignment. It says, describe one or more patterns you saw among the number of women and men who were exposed to the event. And that's what I was just talking about, breaking down by economic status. So that's what we were just doing. Now, the next question says, describe one or more patterns you saw among the number of women and men who died in the event. So I'm going to go back to this, and I have done this for percents. Here is the percents of males who died versus the percents of females who died, and again broken down by economic status. So what you can see here is that the percent of males, a higher percent of the male deaths were in the second economic status, and then the third economic status, and fewer were in the first economic status. But they're all fairly close to each other. If you look at the female deaths, you see something that's really striking. The female deaths were almost all in the third economic status.